Welcome to MySQL, Lesson 6. This video will cover sections 9.1.3 and section 9.2. We will review the examples, a simple data retrieval page, and some of the examples under putting PHP to work. Our first example is the simple data retrieval page from section 9.1.3. You want to open the dump_members.php file and take a look here where we have the require once command, which we covered in our last video, plus the call for sampdb_connect. Following through the script example, we also see a statement here that looks just like a select from MySQL. In fact, it truly is, except for the fact that we have to assign it to a variable and place it within double quotes. That variable is used in the next command, which is a call to the query method. The PHP methods that you'll be using in this course are documented in your online appendix I, so be sure and download it and use it as a reference tool. You will also notice calls to the print method. This is a method used by PHP to format an HTML page. In this particular case, it's going to format for columns and rows. The while statement will call the fetch method, and then it will actually perform a loop getting each row within the database. Then there's a for loop that passes through each of the columns so that each row is separated into the columns that were created by the select statement. Finally, when the two loops are completed, the table is ended and we will set null to the sampdb database. That closes the connection. You will also notice that there are a couple of HTML-based methods. The HTML_end actually ends the HTML page, whereas the HTML_begin at the top sets the title. And these are calls to set up the HTML page itself. Now this is just the dump_members. We'll still need to go and look at our index that actually begins the process. Your textbook PHP examples do provide several versions of index.php in the folder USHL. In this case, we're going to use index4.php, and what I like to do is rename the last file that we edited where we did the add of the include. Next, I will rename index4 to just simply index, and then that's automatically invoked by our local host. This is the index.php file that we just renamed. I just wanted to go over this really quickly for you. It displays a count of the number of members, but it also has a link to that file we just looked at, dump_members. And now we can go to WAMP server, open up the local host, and compare our web page results to the index.php file that we just opened. So be sure and scroll down, double-click USHL, and if you overlay the window, you can kind of compare them. First, we have the title, which I showed you earlier is in the HTML begin statement. And then when you go over and look at the actual web page, there it is. Nice bold font. The next one is the HTML command for our welcome message. Again, it shows up as welcome to the U.S. Historical League website. Then going back again, we're going to take a look at our print. The print is just one of the statements inserted within a try-catch command. The try-catch is used in order to find any exceptions or error messages. So it will actually ignore errors, but at least it will not fail. Also within the try-catch, you'll see sampdb_connect, the query, which is going to do a select of the count from the members, and then the actual setting of the count value. Finally, it does the print command and sets the database back to null to close the connection. And now we can go back and see the result. The league currently has how many members? And our final command gives us the ability to view the directory of members by loading the dump_members.php file. So if you click the Here button, it will load that file and run that particular query. giving us a list of all 102 members. I still have the dump_members PHP file open in my editor, and now I'm going to close it. And that concludes this particular in-depth look at the commands in the index4 file. So you can close your editor too. This next demonstration will be a brief look at putting PHP to work. Basically, I want you to use the same technique we just used for reviewing the commands from section 9.1 and review the scripts in section 9.2 for your own benefit. Knowing these commands will be very important in your PHP project assignment. Start off by clicking the back button in your browser to return to the WAMP Server Manager. Now we're going to go out and copy your MySQL SAMPDB subfolder named GP and paste it into the www folder in your WAMP server's main folder, usually named WAMP. When you open localhost in WAMP server, GP will be listed as one of your projects. Let's take a look at that index real quick in the GP subfolder. I'm going to open it with my PHP editor, and notice that there are just two href commands. The first one I want you to ignore because it is a Perl command and we are not using Perl for this course. However, the second one, score_entry.php, is important, and that's the one we want to take a look at. Score_entry.php will also be located in that GP folder you just copied over. So let's open it up in your editor and then follow your textbook section 9.2.1.2 and be sure and review each of the functions and statements that are used both for displaying and editing the scores in the grade keeping project. This is something you'll need to do on your own. I'm not going to go through all of it in this video, so be sure and do this before you try to take on your assignment. It's a fairly long file, so take a nice long look at it and become very familiar with it. I highly recommend that after you open it in your text editor, go back to WAMP server, open localhost, then open that GP sub-project, and follow through how the commands actually relate to what you see in the grade keeping project. Notice the display that comes up when you click Enter or Edit. And also try creating a new event or clicking on an event ID, and then relate the script commands with the web page results. You can close this out and go back to the WAMP Server Manager, and also use the same technique to review the president_quiz, pres_quiz.php file. This is in section 9.2.2. Be sure and rename index 5 to index so that you can open it both in your editor and in your WAMP server localhost. So, to prepare for your assignment, repeat this process also for the edit_member.php script, just like you did for score_entry and pres_quiz. That concludes this video. I hope that this will help prepare you for your assignment.